What's up, everybody? My name's Kamahl. Welcome to another video. Today we're doing something completely different. I've never done anything like this on the channel, but I thought it would be kind of fun to do. So I've been very interested in MBTI as well as like more legitimate forms of psychology for a long time. In fact, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a psychologist when I grew up. Obviously, those plans didn't come to fruition. It's just not really my type of industry, but that doesn't mean that I'm not still thoroughly into different types of psychology and, kind of understanding how people differ and how they act. Now, I wanted today just to take a 16 personalities type test with you guys. I have done these type of tests before. I've been typed. I know what my type is, but I haven't taken this one in a couple years, I think. So I thought it would just be fun to run through it again. So yeah, if you like this here, like, share, comment, subscribe. Standard YouTube mumbo jumbo. Let's get into the test. It honestly shouldn't be too much. Last time I took it, it was around 60 or so questions, if I remember correctly. We'll see how much it is now. First question. You enjoy vibrant social events with lots of people? No. I mean, I really don't. I can do them if I absolutely need to, but that's not what I like to do. You often spend your time exploring unrealistic yet intriguing ideas. Yes. I don't do it all the time, but it is something that I enjoy doing. I like just thinking about what possibly could happen, even though I know that likely they never will. Your travel plans are more likely to look like a rough list of ideas than a detailed itinerary. That is everything in my life. Everything is bullet point, random things. Even when I make grocery lists, it's like items that I want to cook, and then I just pick up whatever else I might need while I'm at the store. You often think about what you should have said in a conversation long after it has taken place. 100%. If your friend is sad about something, your first instinct is to support them emotionally, not try to solve their problems. People don't really like coming to me with their problems anymore because of this. I'm just going to tell them what they should do to fix it, even though I can't really put those type of things into action myself. People can rarely upset you. That's pretty true. I don't really care what people think. All right, it says you often rely on other people to be the ones to start a conversation and keep it going. Yes, that's pretty accurate. I mean, if somebody gets me really interested in or starts talking to me about something that I'm very interested in, then I can talk nonstop. But more often than not, it's not going to happen. Let's see, you have to temporarily put your plans on hold, or if you have to temporarily put your plans on hold, you make sure it is your top priority to get back on track as soon as possible. No, if I stop doing what I'm doing, I will probably not start doing it again. It's a horrible habit. Try not to pick that habit up. It's terrible. You rarely worry if you made a good impression on someone you met. That's true. Like I said before, I don't really care that much about what people think of me. It would be a challenge for you to spend the whole weekend by yourself without feeling bored. Have I told you guys I'm a stay-at-home parent? I'm a homemaker. I can spend weeks, months by myself and be just fine. You are more of a detail-orientated than a big picture person. That's a tough one, to be honest, because I don't know. I'd have to say that's a really tough one. I notice the details, but I don't really care too much about the details. I have kind of over time forced myself to ignore the details, because if I focus too heavily on the details, nothing will ever get done. You are very affectionate with people you care about. Not really. I mean, I love my wife, I love my son, but I'm not really that affectionate. I mean, they know that I love them. I treat them as I would imagine a father and husband would. but I'm really not a very affectionate person. You have a careful and methodical approach to life. No. I just kind of do whatever I fly by the seat of my pants. You were so bothered by mistakes you made a long time ago. Very true. At parties and similar events, you can mostly be found farther away from the action. This is also true. I don't even know the last time I went to a party. I really want to drink this coffee, but I'm going to burn myself. It's very hot. Oh, it's not too bad. You often find it difficult to relate to people who let their emotions guide them. 100%. This is probably one of the reasons that I'm so staunch in my conservative leanings. When looking for a movie to watch, you can spend ages browsing the catalog. That's true. There's been times where I've looked through every single thing on Netflix and then just gone and hopped on a video game instead. You can stay calm under a lot of pressure. Depending on the pressure, but for the most part, yeah. I'm pretty good at staying calm and chill. When in a group of people you do not know, you have no problem jumping right into their conversation. Not really. It has to be a very particular conversation, something that, like I said earlier, something that I'm very interested in. Otherwise, I'm just going to ignore it. I'm perfectly fine not interjecting and talking to people. When you sleep, your dreams tend to be bizarre and fantastical. Sometimes, a lot of the times. I don't really have, so I quit smoking weed about 6 months ago, and since then I've started to dream a lot more often, or at least remembering them a lot more often, and I'd say that's moderately accurate. In your opinion, it is sometimes okay to step on others to get ahead in life. I mean, I'm not going to go out of my way to step on others, but at the same time, I don't really think about how it will affect other people if they're not close to me. Like, of course, I think about how my wife or son may react to how I do things, but other than those two, I don't really think about it. You are dedicated and focused on your goals, only rarely getting sidetracked. That's not true. Once again, I just kind of do whatever. If you make a mistake, you tend to start doubting yourself, your abilities, or your knowledge. 100%. I've actually had, speaking of this one, I've had debates with people where, like, I knew for a fact that I was right because it's something that I'm very, very well versed in. And after the debate, I still go back and double check everything because I'm like, they were very fervent on their opinions, so maybe there's something that I didn't know. And it frustrates me to no end when this happens, because 9 times out of 10, no, I was correct. And they were just very, very, what's the word? They dug their heels in, and they wouldn't admit that they didn't know what they were talking about. When at a social event, you rarely try to introduce yourself to new people and mostly talk to the ones you already know. 100%. Unless I'm under the influence of alcohol, and I don't drink anymore, so, well, I mean, I do drink, but very rarely, and it's like 1 or 2 beers here and there sitting on my couch. You usually lose interest in a discussion when it gets philosophical. Not at all. You would never let yourself cry in front of others. That's true. You feel more drawn to places with a bustling and busy atmosphere than a more quiet and intimate ones. Not true at all. I hate it. Sometimes it takes a lot of convincing of myself to actually go to the store to grocery shop. I don't like it. I don't like being around people. You like to discuss different views and theories on what the world could be like in the future. That's pretty true. When it comes to making life-changing choices, you mostly listen to your heart rather than your head. Not true at all. I usually try to take a more logical standpoint rather than, how I feel. I don't really argue with my feelings or make decisions based on my feelings. I try to be a lot more logical. You cannot imagine yourself dedicating your life to the study of something you cannot see, touch, or experience. That's pretty true. All right, halfway done, guys. You still prefer to get your revenge rather than forgive. Yes. Or you usually, not you still. You often make decisions on a whim. That's pretty true. The time you spend by yourself often ends up being more interesting and satisfying than the time you spend with other people. True. You often put special effort into interpreting the real meaning, meaning or the message of a song or a movie. This is true, actually. My son, he's 7 years old, and him and I have discussions about that constantly. We're always listening to music, and I'm trying to explain to him that, there's, I forget the word for it, but people will use different, like a turn of phrase for something that means something different, like an analogy. You always know exactly what you want. I still, at 32 years old, I still have no idea what I want to do. You rarely think back on the choices you made and wonder what you could have done differently. That's not true. I do that all the time. When in a public place, you usually stick to quieter, less crowded areas. True. You tend to focus on the present realities rather than the future possibilities. That's inaccurate for the most part. I'm constantly thinking about the future. I spend so much time thinking about what could have happened and what could happen that I'll spend entire days where I don't do anything at all. It's pretty bad sometimes. You often have a hard time understanding other people's feelings. That's kind of, I'll put it on a little bit agree, because like, it's not that I don't understand their feelings. I just genuinely am apathetic towards it, if that makes sense. Like, I don't care one way or the other. It may kind of sound like it may sound kind of mean, but it's true. I just don't really care. So I understand. I just don't care. When starting to work on a project, you prefer to make as many decisions up front as possible. No, I kind of, like I said, that I kind of just go with the flow. I live life like an ocean. Go back a few questions. That makes sense. When you know someone thinks highly of you, you also wonder how long it will be until they become disappointed in you. Yup. You feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation. Oh, how different my life could have been if that were true. You often drift away into daydreaming about various ideas or scenarios. Truth. You look after yourself first and others come in second. If it's not my wife or my son, this is very, very true. Even when you have planned a particular daily routine, you often just end up doing whatever you feel like at the given moment. That's true. Your mood can change very quickly. Yeah, my wife has told me that I'm likely a low-grade form of bipolar, because it's just like a switch. Sometimes there'll be days where I'm very down. There's other days where I'm, like a manic, and I'm just super elated. It can be a lot to handle. I'm very happy that I found someone that can handle those moods. You often contemplate the reason for human existence or the meaning of life. That's pretty true as well. I strongly agree with that one. You often talk about your own feelings and emotions. That's not really. You have got detailed education or career development plans stretching out several years into the future. Nope. I thought I knew what I wanted to do. Like I can basically rebuild a car. At 16 years old, I graduated, and I was, basically had all the certifications to open my own restaurant, to be a sous chef. And I joined the military, and now I have no idea what I want to do, really. Like I said, that was like over half my life ago, and I just kind of live each day as it presents itself. You rarely dwell on your regrets. Nope. I would say that I don't have any regrets. So that's kind of a loaded question, because it's not really regrets. It's more so my past actions, the decisions that I've made in the past that could have been made differently. I mean, I guess that's kind of a regret, but it's more so just thinking about the things that I've done and how it could have gone differently if I would have, If only I knew then what I know now. Spending time in a dynamic atmosphere with lots of people around quickly makes you feel drained and in need of a getaway. 100%. You see yourself as more of a realist than a visionary. It depends on what the question means. So, optimistic, pessimistic, realist, I'm more of a realist. Realist versus visionary. I don't know. I'm not really 100% sure what they're asking with that question. I guess. I kind of prefer to see things for what they are, but at the same time, I like to think about what things could be. You find it easy to empathize with a person who has gone through something you never have. Yeah, I mean, not really empathize. I can understand what they're saying, but once again, like, I can put myself in their shoes and understand where they're coming from, but it's not going to emotionally affect me. It's not going to make me change my opinions or viewpoints on something. Your personal work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy than organized and consistent efforts. That's true. All right, this is the final stretch, guys. Your emotions control you more than you control them. Kind of, I guess. After a long, exhausting week, a fun party is exactly what you need. Negative. You frequently find yourself wondering how technological advancements could change every day. Yeah. I mean, Elon Musk is a pretty fascinating person in that sense. He's got some very interesting things coming down the pipeline. You also consider how your actions might affect other people before doing something. No. Once again, unless it's my wife or my son, I really don't. You still honor the commitments you have made, even if you have a change of heart. Not at all. If I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it. You rarely feel insecure. I'd say that's pretty inaccurate. I'm moderately insecure. And it's exactly what I presumed it would be, exactly what, when I got typed, it was telling me what I was. I tried to make some pretty strong one way or the other. I don't like making like middle of the road type answers for these type of tests, because it can really skew the test in a inaccurate way. So a lot of these are going to be pretty strong one way or the other. But let's read what it says. So I have to click start reading. Would you like us to email? Nah. So the logician personality type is fairly rare, making up only 3% of the population. 3% is pretty rare, but we do have to remember it's 16 different types, so it's not that much more rare than the other types, depending on how the breakdown is. But it says, which is definitely a good thing for them, as there's nothing they'd be more unhappy about than being common. Logicians pride themselves on their intuitiveness and creativity, their unique perspectives and vigorous intellect, usually known as the philosopher, the architect, or the dreamy professor. That one's probably closest to me, the dreamy professor. Logicians have been responsible for many scientific discoveries throughout history. So that's pretty cool. I want to see what are some strengths and weaknesses. Strengths: great analysis and abstract thinkers, imaginative and original, open-minded, enthusiastic, objective. That's one thing I pride myself on. It's funny that the INTP is called the logician. I had my wife's little brother, so my brother-in-law. It was like 6 or 7 years ago, we were having a philosophical discussion. And he just looked me square in the eye and he goes, "You have to be one of the most logical persons that I've ever met." And I found that to be very, what's the word? Probably the greatest compliment anyone's ever given me. I was like, wow, dude, thank you. I appreciate that. Honest and straightforward. Let's look at some weaknesses. Very private and withdrawn. This is true. Insensitive. I think we went over that during the test. Absent-minded. Condescending. I can see that. I can definitely see that. Loathe rules and guidelines. That's not true. At least for me. I understand rules, I understand guidelines. However, if they don't make sense to me, as in the rules are unnecessary, I will basically ignore them. So if you try to put a rule or a mandate on me that doesn't make sense to me or that I don't agree with, I'm just going to flat out ignore it and second guess themselves. I wonder if they have, let's read the conclusion real quick. It's kind of long, but it shouldn't take too long. How long's the video been so far? Only 20 minutes. You can wait another few minutes for it. Armed with a powerful intellect and a vivid imagination, logicians can overcome or outmaneuver obstacles that seem unbeatable at most, or unbeatable to most. At the same time, their many quirks, such as an unconstrained rationalism, lead to many misunderstandings. Those misunderstandings end here. What you have read so far is just an introduction, and we have a great deal more to tell you about the logician personality type. At some point in reading through your results, you probably hit a tipping point. You went from a trademark logician skepticism to, wait, what? You may even be a little uncomfortable because you are really not used to being understood, even by the people you're closest to. Chances are you've accepted that as a part of who you are, and maybe even grown proud of it. But embracing that disconnection isn't a requirement for logicians. It's a misused defense mechanism, leading you down a lonely, inefficient path. Gaining insight into yourself and others is so much more rewarding. There is no date of birth gimmick, and no, we do not spy on you. Rather, we've spent years studying logicians' life stories, experiences, and patterns in hundreds of our surveys. Step by step, insight by insight, we discovered how those who share your qualities and outlook have overcome the challenges they faced. You are a unique individual, but you are not alone in this. It's wise to learn from others' experiences, and we'd really like to share those insights with you. As you move forward into ebooks and interactive courses we offer, I'm not going to do that, we go much deeper into logician mind. We answer not just what, but why, how, and what if. Why do you act the way you do? How do you find motivation and inspiration? That's a damn good question. What if we moved beyond fear and pursue what you secretly want to achieve in life? We can show you how to use your strengths to unlock your exceptional potential and avoid common pitfalls, while also staying true to who you are. After all, that's the point, to see how you can grow to be the person you know you're capable of being, in ways that finally feel right. Read on, logician. Don't you tell me how to live my life. I'm not going to read on. But there you go, guys. I took the test. I got the answer that I've gotten just about every other time. But, it's something fun, something different. What I want to know from you is I want you to try taking the test, and I want to know what you are. If you're in the Discord community, I'm usually in there. So take the test. I'll put a link in the description. Let me know what you guys got. And as always, I'm out.